kind of crime is spreading across the country. It's being called burglary tourism. Here's how it works. Police say thieves from South America come to the U.S. on tourist visas and target homes in wealthy neighborhoods, especially in cities with soft on crime policies like Los Angeles. Even if they're caught, they often don't stay in custody for long. They move on to other states, fencing the stolen good here or shipping it back to countries like Chile.
We learned about an international criminal enterprise out of South America that's traveling across the U.S., burglarizing homes one town at a time. And they strike homes while folks are away. They'll spend weeks surveilling a neighborhood before striking a bunch of houses in a brief period of time.
These individuals are coming here legally on a 90-day tourist visa program, but notes the program is extremely flawed and then being taken advantage of because obviously they stay past that 90-day threshold.
I'm calling on and basically demanding that Secretary Mayorkas cut Chile off from the S.D.N.Y visa program. It doesn't mean that Chileans can't come to the United States on a visa. It just means they shouldn't be able to do it on an online application for $21 when they're not providing, that is Chile, criminal background checks. We are literally opening the floodgates to Chilean nationals who are organized thieves, who are preying on American citizens and surveying us, coming into our homes, stealing our property, and terrorizing America.
Back in 2020, I was in court. I asked the judge to hold them on bail, and the judge said, I'm sorry, we can't hold them on bail. And they walked out of the courtroom, and I tell everybody, it's the first time in my career that people walked past me laughing at me, and we never saw them again.
You are fake news.
This is not fake news. This is actually happening. America is being robbed by illegal immigrants. Still being robbed by illegal immigrants. It's still happening. And Chileans, they come over from Chile after paying $20 for an application fee to enter the United States of America. Then once they get here, they start stealing from people's homes. Now, as a U.S. citizen, if you are renting, the application fee to apply for housing costs more than $20. But an application fee for an immigrant to enter the United States on a visa costs $21. I don't know if that's before tax or after tax. I don't even know if they're being charged tax. Now, it's not even just Chileans. It's people from South America. It's Venezuelans that's coming into the country. It's Colombians that have come into the country. Taking tours across the states, stealing. Robbing and stealing like it's a movie. Comment down below how you feel about this. Make sure you keep it YouTube friendly and respectful as possible. In my opinion, it is obvious that the United States of America needs a stronger and more secure border policy, especially when it comes to people tracking the whereabouts of immigrants. We need a front line like Australia. Australia is so strict about what you can't even take certain foods inside of Australia because it would disturb their agriculture. We need a front line. America needs a front line like that. Every U.S. born citizen has to pay for a background check to apply for housing. If they're renting, they have to pay for a background check for government assistance if they're in need of that. They even have to pay for a background check to apply for employment opportunities. I want to use Australia as another example because they have the top flight security of the world right now. When someone is en route to go into Australia, they will set someone down who they suspect are there for other reasons than what they stated they were there for. They will sit them in the room for hours while they investigate and validate the information that they provided for why they need to come into Australia. They will contact your relatives. They will contact employment. They will contact the government. They will hack into your emails. They will hack into your social. They will check your social media profiles to direct messaging. That is the kind of security that we need. When people are coming in for asylum, they need to be able to provide some background information. In Florida, there's a stand your ground law. However, this law only applies if you are in a violent situation or if there is a threat of your life. The illegal immigrants that are breaking into people's homes are organized and they purposely do not enter a home with a gun or with violence. They only break into your home when you are not there to grab and go. Therefore, the stand your ground law does not apply. And of course, you already know that there is no border around Mexico right now. So people who are even immigrants that are going into Mexico are going into Mexico and then illegally crossing into the United States. The United States of America is not protected.
Florida. Says 4 Colombian gang members were arrested accused of multiple thefts across the state.
Stealing nearly $2 million from Naples to Tampa. The Polk County Sheriff's Office says they just arrested 4 gang members from Colombia, accused of 9 thefts at residential high-end gated communities across our state. These aren't real construction workers. The Polk County Sheriff's Office says they're career criminals in disguise.
They focused and came here specifically to do high-end organized crime.
These 4 people, Colombian nationals, are accused of burglarizing homes in half a dozen counties across the Sunshine State, including at least one here in Collier County.
These folks that came to this country were illegal aliens. They were from Colombia. They came into Mexico, and from Mexico, they came through the open border. Then they would identify the owners and follow them to their house, and from their house back to their work to identify not only where they lived, but pattern their activity. That's right, they were under surveillance.
Then this foursome would use Wi-Fi jammers to disable home security systems and rob homes blind when no one was there. The thieves are accused of stealing $1.7 million worth of gold, jewelry, designer handbags, and cash.
We know there are many more victims across the state and the nation.
Sheriff Grady Judd doesn't believe this group had any more accomplices, but tells us their investigation into gang activity isn't over. The sheriff's office has already identified other similar groups from both Chile and Colombia.
We're coming after you. We're going to catch you. We're going to arrest you and put you in prison for a very, very long time for racketeering. And then, after you're very old, if you don't die in prison from old age, then we'll deport you.
2 of the gang members are in custody at jails up north. One has already been deported to Colombia, and the other is on the run after cutting off their ankle monitor while being out on bond.
Baltimore.
They've arrested these 5 men believed to be part of a South American theft group. They range in age from 20 to 27.
This theft group is responsible for multiple burglaries within the Baltimore County area.
Police say the men were arrested February 3rd after an attempted burglary in Reisterstown. According to a court charging document, a victim who was not at home called police after seeing surveillance video showing someone trying to break into his house.
I was here, it was about 6:45 in the evening, and what I think is that you don't realize these things happen in your neighborhood till they happen in your neighborhood.
The police helicopter arrived and saw multiple people in the yard. The men started running and got into a car, according to police. Officers stopped the car at Dover and Boblitz Roads. Inside the vehicle, police found large screwdrivers, pry bars, black and gray gloves.
Like anything, your heart races, and it all seems like it's distant until it happens. And when it happens to you, then all of a sudden you think, what do I have to start doing?
Neighbors remain concerned about their security. The men agreed to talk to investigators. The court charging document indicates the 5 defendants advised that they came to Maryland yesterday, February 2nd, to visit the White House. None of the 5 defendants could advise why they were in the yard of the victim's home. Police say they have connected the men to at least 4 other home burglaries in the Baltimore County areas of Franklin, Cockeysville, and Essex.
Through the patterns of the burglaries, our detectives were able to put the pieces together to identify these suspects and/or charge them in the other burglaries.
And there could be another connection.
We do believe that this group may be associated with the Asian business burglaries that we have put out a few months earlier. But our detectives are actually trying to figure out if they are connected, and if so, they will be charged with that as well. Indiana.
5 men, meanwhile, have been arrested following accusations they stole from a Greenfield home. Police believe they may be part of a South American theft group.
County investigators believe they've been active in Carmel and in Fishers. Our Eric Graves breaks down the first case in the neighboring Hancock County.
Court docs show 5 South American men broke into a home here on Collins Way in Greenfield, ransacked it, and drove off with cash and jewelry. These 5 men were arrested in Jasper County on March 28th, suspected of stealing from a home in Greenfield on the same day.
I ran to my room, everything looked like a disaster.
Ann Long says it was her home on Collins Way that was robbed.
They took all my jewelry.
Court docs show $4,000 was also taken from the house on March 28th. The men had all of Ann's jewelry when they were arrested hours later, heading north on I-65. Greenfield Police Captain Corey Decker says the van the suspects were riding in was caught on flock cameras.
Without that technology, we'd probably still have no idea where they might be.
Decker says this burglary matches the style of South American theft groups, people who come into the U.S. and try to steal cash, expensive items, and jewelry from people across the country when they're not at home.
That stuff easily can disappear just because it's kind of hard to track.
Decker says this is the first time something like this has happened in Greenfield, but they've had help from other agencies.
We believe there is a connection there, same organization, just different people.
We've told you about cases like this one targeting gated and affluent neighborhoods in Hamilton County. The neighborhood where the Greenfield robbery happened was not like those.
The community there is not gated.
Carmel police have investigated 17 similar burglaries since the beginning of 2022. Fishers is also investigating similar cases. Court docs show Fishers police have requested DNA from the suspects to see if they're connected to a robbery there.
It's just all about reaching out, sharing information to see if it even aligns with what we might be investigating.
According to court docs, all 5 men are not U.S. citizens and seem to be from South America. State police in Michigan also say they have 5 different investigations involving similar burglaries with the same van these suspects were caught in.
That's horrible.
Ann is very happy they were caught when they were.
They got bad luck when they come to my home.
California.
Why are they so hard to catch?
Well, number one, Sandra, I am told most are arriving here specifically from Chile, which is the only Latin American country you don't need a visa to enter the U.S. as a tourist. That means no background check. Secondly, they have fake IDs to rent cars and hotels, so there's no electronic trail to follow. Police caught these 4 red-handed outside Philadelphia with masks, gloves, reciprocating saws, and glass break-in tools. North Carolina, 4 more. These 4 guys face 200 charges of breaking and entering homes to steal. Glendale, California. Police there arrested these 3 from burglarizing multiple homes. And finally, Baltimore, these 5 connected to break-ins in Maryland, North Carolina, Alabama, Oklahoma. What do they all have in common? They all entered from Chile posing as tourists.
So not only are they robbing us blind and burglarizing our homes, but then they're not held to answer for their crimes because we don't know and cannot represent to the court what their criminal background is.
And that's because as a tourist waiver country, police don't know their criminal background before they board an airplane, allowing them to travel to wealthy areas, not just LA, New York, Miami, Phoenix, Detroit, Indianapolis, and more, where they case houses, break in, take cash, collectibles, and jewelry.
I can tell you that we have a significant increase in burglaries from organized groups that are outside this country.
And why are they so effective? Now, with those fake IDs, existing police databases and informants are virtually useless. High-end jamming devices disable home security systems. And because they don't use guns, most sheriffs don't hold and DAs don't prosecute residential property crime.
I literally cannot comprehend why the United States government is trying to protect Chileans who are coming in and breaking into our homes.
So DA Spitzer says the Biden administration could end this tomorrow by revoking Chile's waiver status, but they won't. He's suing the administration to find out why.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, they're coming to areas, they're going to areas that have sanctuary policies already, so they know that they're already going to be soft on any crime that they might be engaged in, and by the way, likely protect them from getting information to the feds if they actually get caught. But that's the thing. A lot of these folks are not getting caught, and as William said, when they do, they're just simply released. So if they are getting police too much on their trail. All they have to do is just leave the country. And it's not just happening from Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, also having some folks who are involved in this country. And while this is new, this specific incident, we have been seeing these kinds of things happen across the United States for the last couple years. It's just never been as blatant and flagrant. And I think that they're doing this because of a combination of all the things I just mentioned, especially the soft on crime law.
Bell cameras cleaning out homes, but this is different. Police call it crime tourism. Groups of thieves from South America coming to California to commit burglaries. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia explains.
This is surveillance video from Hillsborough Police in Northern California. They say it shows a burglary crew from South America targeting a luxury home. It's just one in a series of crimes involving burglars from out of the country hitting homes in affluent communities up and down the state. Earlier this month, Ventura County sheriffs arrested a four-man crew that robbed a home in this Camarillo neighborhood.
This is crime tourism. They're coming here for the purpose of targeting neighborhoods, specifically vehicles, homes, not violent crimes, but they're going after the big bucks.
In the Camarillo case, sheriff's deputies spotted the getaway car and gave chase all the way into Los Angeles. LAPD helped out in arresting the suspects.
They target homes that back up to golf courses and open space, and they'll literally stand in the bushes and watch. And when people leave, sometimes it's a 2-hour window. They go out to dinner or something like that. They go in and pounce.
According to Ventura County Sheriff's investigators, most of these tourist burglary crews are from Chile. They're able to easily obtain tourist visas to travel to California by applying online. Once they have their visas, they land at LAX and start their crime spree.
Several of my friends have been hit repeatedly, and it's a matter of sharing information, getting involved in community watch. Things like that really seems to help. And then anytime you see something suspicious, report it.
And according to the Ventura County Sheriff's Office, they tell me last year alone, they handled at least 100 cases involving these crews from South America.
Connecticut. 9 burglaries happen in a week's span. We barely have 9 in a year, so to have that many in such a short span really disturbed the community. What we learned was it was an organized group from South America that had come into the country, and they travel all over the place. They pick a neighborhood, they observe the comings and goings of people, so then they may pose as a delivery person, ring the doorbell. If nobody answers, that's the go-ahead for them to then go around the back of the house, break a rear slider, straight to the master bedroom, looking for cash, jewelry, valuable items. 5 of the 9 burglaries occurred in this neighborhood. Yes.
Wow. Have you guys been able to capture any of these suspects yet?
No, we've not made any arrests in ours. The last we heard that the suspects from ours were in the Midwest.
Particularly troubling is that one of the crime rings that were arrested, they were bussed up here from the border.
And even when arrests are made, tracking these international criminals is a challenge, one that Nassau County DA Ann Donnelly has been on since 2018.
If we happen to pick one of them up, we're not even sure who they are. And we had incidents where they gave us one name, they were wanted in California under a different name, and they were wanted in Florida under a third name.
Are they in the country legally?
No, most of them are not here legally. Some have come in on visas and then just overstayed the visas, and some have just come in through the border.
How do they pull this type of act off?
They're surprisingly adaptable. They realize that the most profitable place to go is into the second floor, because most people don't alarm the second floor of their house. That's usually where the master bedroom is. Usually where the safe is kept is in the closet in the master bedroom.
What tools do they use to pull this off?
This is a new development. They jam the signal between the police cars. So the police don't know where they're going. They can't talk to each other, and it gives them more time then to get away.
Some of these individuals you've been able to prosecute, some of them have been released because of bail reform.
Unfortunately, in the beginning, the way the bail reform was written, we were not allowed to ask for bail on these types of cases. So one of the first crews that we had that was arrested back in 2020, I was in court. I asked the judge to hold them on bail, and the judge said, "I'm sorry, we can't hold them on bail." And they walked out of the courtroom, and I tell everybody, it's the first time in my career that people walked past me laughing at me, and we never saw them again.
Calling on and basically demanding that Secretary Mayorkas cut Chile off from the S.D.N.Y program. It doesn't mean that Chileans can't come to the United States on a visa. It just means they shouldn't be able to do it on an online application for $21 when they're not providing, that is Chile, criminal background checks. We are literally opening the floodgates to Chilean nationals who are organized thieves, who are preying on American citizens and surveying us, coming into our homes, stealing our property, and terrorizing America.
North Carolina.
Police arrested these 4 men in connection to break-ins at 2 multi-million-dollar homes in Raleigh. WRAL obtained this surveillance video. You can see at least one person here breaking into a home. Warrants say the group is going from Florida to North Carolina and could be connected to crimes across the country. Investigators say this could be connected to an organized crime group out of South America. These men are facing a lot of charges.
They are, Deborah, 226 charges now. 3 of those men are Chilean. 1 is from Argentina. We first discovered that connection that investigators are trying to make here to that South American theft ring in these search warrants you see here that were filed with these cases here in Wake County. Now investigators here at the Wake County Sheriff's Office tell me they are working with law enforcement in other communities across the country on this.
The rooftops of multi-million-dollar homes peak above the treetops behind the gates of the Linville community. This is one of 2 high-end neighborhoods in northern Wake County hit by burglars before they were busted.
They were relentless and they were consistent.
Wake County Sheriff's Office investigator Jay Cardona tells WRAL detectives have been working on this case for more than a year, leading up to the arrest of these 4 men last week. Cardona says they struck at night, sneaking through the woods behind the homes they targeted. One homeowner in Alpine Creek shared these security camera photos as the burglars, dressed all in black, broke in through a back window. They're now suspected in 20 break-ins at high-end homes in the county going back to December of 2022.
Well, we've had as high as $1 million worth of value out of one home with the property, jewelry, precious metals, high-end items, Louis Vuitton.
In a search warrant, investigators say this MO matches that of a Chilean organized crime group operating in the United States. It goes on to say this group travels from Florida to North Carolina and back.
With the information we're getting now, it points and directs to a larger organization, which may be behind it.
The warrants also reveal how detectives tracked the team from this Airbnb in Durham. From there, investigators say the suspects went out casing neighborhoods for potential targets. Last Thursday, they followed the group to this North Raleigh neighborhood where undercover investigators took them down before they could hit another home.
We have a lot more to do. We're going to continue our investigation thoroughly and completely.
So-called crime tourists, they say, have traveled to that county to break into homes. They say they've identified a trend now carried out by criminal rings from South America. This is video here of a burglary from Saturday on Wild Cherry Lane in Wilmington. Investigators say most times the homeowners are not home at the time the crime is carried out, but there have been instances where the burglars pose as delivery drivers or utility workers to gain access. Working with federal agents, Newcastle County Police have arrested several suspects now and have identified numerous others wanted for the crimes. Police say thieves typically ship the items they steal back to their home countries or try to sell them before they leave the country themselves.
Arizona.
Arrest made in connection to a series of home burglaries targeting upscale neighborhoods.
This had a lot of people on edge. Police say that they are tied to a nationwide South American theft gang. Desiree Fluellen joining us with the latest. And Des, there's a lot to go through.
Oh, there's a lot of information coming out of this presser with Scottsdale Police. So Scottsdale Police Chief Jeff Walther has confirmed that those individuals arrested are professionals. He referred to them as crime tourists. So they're part of the South American theft gang. And right now, 32-year-old Gracia Garcia Castillo there on your right, and 23-year-old Sebastian Soto. His mugshot is new, and a 17-year-old juvenile are all in custody, all from Santiago, Chile. The arrests come after the group attempted to burglarize a home in the Desert Highlands neighborhood near Pima and Yearling Roads. This is video of a prior theft and burglary. They hit in the evening hours when they suspect that nobody is home. But the case that we're talking about that led to these three recent arrests happened Sunday night around 8:30. It was an attempt because they were scared off by the homeowner, who had immediately called police. An officer on patrol in the area almost immediately found Castillo. Her suspicious behavior, driving slowly, looking around, even pulling over, were red flags. And when asked for her ID, she handed the officer her Chilean passport. The other two men that she was with were hiding in the desert. Eventually, with the help of DPS and heat sensing technology, the other two men were arrested early Monday morning.
This is not a Scottsdale issue. This is not a Valley issue. This is not an Arizona issue. This is a national issue. And so we have to be willing to start asking some hard questions of our federal government about the visa waiver program.
And he suspects these are it's just the beginning of arrests to come. The chief says that these individuals are coming here legally on a 90-day tourist visa program, but notes the program is extremely flawed and then being taken advantage of because obviously they stay past that 90-day threshold. So the chief says that the main target of homes being broken into is the primary bedroom and the bathroom. These people are looking for cash, non-serialized jewelry, silver, gold, luxury goods. He also noted that none of the suspects have been armed and they have not yet stolen guns of any type. He's calling on more support right now from Homeland Security and ICE, saying, quote, "We feel alone here and we can work. How can we work to make this problem, tackle this problem together?"